Hello, and welcome to A Drink with the Pass, featuring your host,
Martin.
and Jose, and our guest.
Erika.
Today, we are discussing all things Electoral College related.
A very controversial topic, just FYI, just putting it out there for you.
Our drinks for today's episode include Jack and Coke Tennessee whiskey with the splurge of Espolon tequila. So grab your drink and cheer with us as we take a drink with the pass.
What's the past?
Cheers. Okay, so we wanted to ask you, Erika, what are three things about you? Just any three things.
Yes, so first off, thank you, both of you, for having me on your podcast. I'm so excited to learn about our topic for today.
It is our pleasure.
So, the first thing about me is I love to travel. I feel like me and my brother, Martin here, we love to travel. We always find something interesting every time we go to any country. So I know that last year I went to Canada twice. So that was exciting.
What part of Canada did you go to this time?
I went to Toronto area and a town called Hanover.
Oh, Hanover? Okay.
Yes, my sister-in-law lives there. So It's a very cute little small town. So anyone who's interested, you guys should go.
Okay. Did you get to be in Toronto itself, like
Yes.
during your visit there, or did you just stay in Hanover?
Yes, I went to Toronto area. I love the little parks there. I feel like they have a lot of art exhibits for like people to see. So it was really exciting.
Did you get to see the snow?
No, I was there during the summertime and fall time.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay.
So second thing would be I have a cat named Danessa. She is my baby. She's 2 years old.
2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the third thing would be I started a new travel blog on TikTok. I am going to start making content of like new restaurants I'm trying out. And I am going to Japan actually in March. Oh. So I'm going to be making even multiple videos as well.
Spontaneous, or was this planned?
Spontaneous, I would say. Actually, 2 days ago, I started making my page. So I'm very excited.
And I was very surprised too.
What do you want to do in Japan?
I have a cousin there. He is actually an English professor at a university near Kanazawa.
Okay.
So I think we're gonna try to go to Kyoto area in Osaka, and I also am going to try to go to Tokyo for a couple of days. So I'm going to be traveling multiple places.
Tokyo is like one of the, not Tokyo itself, but Japan as a whole is one of the areas I would like to visit at least once in my life.
Yeah,
at least to even see like the Studio Ghibli Museum.
I actually been there.
How is it?
When I went, I think 2019. Yeah, it was honestly a lovely experience. You would love it.
Can't wait. Mm. Well, I hope you enjoy your trip in March.
Thank you.
So today, as Jose mentioned, we are going to be discussing about what makes the United States have the Electoral College when it comes to electing the president of our country. So,
what do you know about that? Like, because I could be wrong. Maybe they did talk about this, but I was probably gone because I was probably sick that day when they talked about electoral colleges. So I don't know jack shit about why they named it Electoral College, or the sole purpose of it at that point. in school?
Well, the way how we were taught about it in high school is like the Electoral College is basically a group of individuals who are elected as these sort of electors, and they basically, in the number, have to match with like the number of representatives we have, in the House of Representatives for each state, and basically just based off the vote that the people living in the states go with, and usually the electors go with voting for like the popular vote in this state. Well, that's how it is now, but only 2 states they don't do that. In 2 states they don't go with like the popular vote. The electors just go with like whatever they feel like voting.
So is Electoral College like an actual college? Because when I first heard of this, I was like, wait a minute, does that mean all presidents go to Electoral College first before they decide to run for president?
I mean, you would think, right? I mean, it does mention college.
Yeah, so I mean, my brain is braining that way, so.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, that's the one thing that young people, they automatically think about, right? It's like Electoral College. Oh, that's probably a real college where we go get our degree in how to vote for a president of the United States.
Or where you become the president. I don't know.
Well,
is that one of the necessary steps to become president?
Well, I mean, here, and this is the thing for today. Like, the Electoral College is something that was grounded within the founding of the United States. And actually, this was a big topic that the founders of the country actually went through with each other when trying to decide how to elect a president. So, I mean, and actually, it says that the Electoral College is, yes, the one thing that does elect the president, that says, okay, this number of people in the state, right, who are in the electors, they end up getting they end up making sure that the president is voted and that the president gets that exact number of electors from that state that equals to their thing. Yes.
Actually, I do have a question about that. So who verifies if a candidate is qualified to run for president?
Well, first of all, the way how an American is qualified to be the president of the United States is, they have to be a natural born citizen of the United States. So
can't wait for that to be stripped away, apparently, given what's happening in the next few days.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so American born citizens, so Americans who are born in this country or in territories of the U.S., they are allowed to be president. They have to be at least 35 years old.
35 years old.
35 years old.
You can't have a 21-year-old for president?
No, because apparently today's day and age, people in their 20s don't know any better in this day and age.
But I think I honestly agree though, because I think you should have an age limit because, you need to still get educated on like whatever you need to learn about, like the rules, the government, and all this other things that you need to know about running a country. I think that's just such a big responsibility, so.
And plus you're dealing with dangerous codes and dangerous weaponry that can annihilate a country.
Okay.
So you have to be a natural born citizen of this country. You have to be 35 years old, and you do have to be a resident for at least 13 years in this country.
Does that also, like, when Electoral Colleges elect a president, do they also elect how many people become senators or people in, like, the House of Reps and stuff like that?
I think it depends on... So you're talking about the year of the president, when the presidential elections are happening.
Yeah, so during the elections, do they also have the final say in regards to who gets nominated into the Senate and the Supreme Court and stuff like that?
Or
is it based off of a different criteria, or not criteria, but a different voting system?
For the House and
and the Senate.
Okay, so basically, there are, so on the years the president is elected, that's also when we also vote for the representatives and the senators too, of our state, of each individual state, really. And of course, like the governor thing, that's a whole different thing. Like like voting for the governor, like a governor election, that's a different thing.
Okay.
So, I mean, and then of course, Supreme Court justices are appointed by the president, but they have to go through a board and this question. So like, So, how did this all started? Well, for starters, it all begins in 1787 when the delegates of the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia, which was the first capital of the newly established United States at the time, in 1787, the founding fathers come together and they talk about how a president should be elected, right? And basically how the roles of government needs to play. So the founding fathers, the issue with the president, this actually was a debate for months.
Do you even have an electoral college?
No, not back then.
Do you even have it, or just to use that as the sole way of electing a president?
It wasn't even a thing when it first started. But like the issue with the president, that took months.
It took months. Oh.
Just discussing about how a president should be elected. So first of all, it even like some people argue that Congress should have been the one to pick the president.
So not the people.
Not the people, where it's like Congress should be the one to pick the president, and others were saying like, well, no, we should do this in the democratic way, right? Where of course we all know it today as the popular vote.
Exactly.
Right? So with this argument going on and on, it's like, well, Congress should be the one to pick the president, my good sir. Like, no, good sir. I believe the people should pick the president by democratic popular vote. And of course, it went on, and then eventually the compromise that they all came together would be known as the Electoral College, basically, where each state, they pick the number of people depending on how many people live in the state, right? So there's a few individuals that would eventually come together and they would make the vote for their state. Like their state they would make the decision for their vote, basically, in a way.
So who gets chosen to be part of Electoral College, since it's considered temporary at that point?
Well, so the system calls for the creation every 4 years of this temporary group of electors equal to the total number of representatives in Congress, right? So technically, it is these electors, not the American people, who vote for the president, right? And there are 538 electors total. Now, like right now, there are 538 total electors. The first candidate to get 270 wins the White House.
That's a lot of people. 538, you said?
For the entire country. In the entire country. And
That's a big number.
It has to equal to the number of the representatives in Congress. So that's the thing. They went with the representatives who are in Congress, like with the number.
Oh, okay.
So, actually, I do have another question.
What is it? If you could please tell me.
Sorry, I'm actually really interested. So, what would happen if two candidates tied in a state's popular vote? Or if there was a dispute as to the winner?
So, there has never been a popular vote tie, right? But if there was a tie within the Electoral College, then the matter would end up going to Congress, and they would select members of Congress and the members of Congress would take a vote, and whichever candidate gets the most vote from within Congress, and that's when they become president.
Which is interesting, because you were saying how it started, some people wanted Congress to do the votes, right? So technically, it could still happen if there is a tie.
Possibility, yes. If there is a tie, within like the near future, right, between two candidates, then it's up to Congress to elect the president, right? So
Has that ever happened where an election got that close that Congress did have to vote?
actually, yeah, 5 times.
Oh.
Only 5 times within our history in the United States where there was a close call within the Electoral College that basically Congress had to take action for it. Really,
Was it Eddie during our lifetime?
during our lifetime, I don't think so. Not that I could think from the top of my head right now if there was any, but for sure, trying to think, who was it? It was between Andrew Jackson
Okay, Andrew Jackson.
and Martin Van Buren, I believe. That there was a close call for both of them, and Congress ended up having to take the matters in the.
So with that one, it's the same thing. Like at least 270 people in Congress have to side with one particular president for them to be elected as president at that point.
Congress, yes.
Okay.
So John Quincy Adams, actually, the son of John Adams, he actually won with the intervention of Congress because of the Electoral College. It came to a tie. Mm-hmm. So
sorry, whenever I think of John Quincy Adams, I'm reminded of Paul Revere, and the redcoats are coming.
He was a child during the American Revolution.
Yeah.
So Rutherford President Hayes of 1876, he also won the presidency with the Electoral College.
With Congress voting.
Yeah, with Congress having a vote.
Okay.
Is that the first?
No, the first
John
one
Quincy Adams.
was John Quincy Adams, and then President Hayes.
Oh.
Then you got Benjamin Harrison as well, and actually George W. Bush.
Okay, so the one in our lifetime, George W. Bush.
George W. Bush.
Yeah,
I never knew that.
Mm-hmm. George W. Bush. So he got the Electoral College vote, but like he lost the popular vote. George W. Bush lost the popular vote, but he won the Electoral College vote.
Interesting.
So just because you lose the popular doesn't mean the Electoral College doesn't side with you at that point? You could still be elected at that point, even if you don't win the popular?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was actually a big issue between Gore and Bush about that election year. And basically, the Electoral College was like, yeah, Bush won the Electoral College 271 to 266.
Yeah, okay.
So even though Gore won the popular vote, Bush won by one, so 271, like he reached that limit. And so it was like, and of course, a recent president too.
Wait, is there been any president that's been, like, besides Trump now, since now he's one of the few that, had a presidency, lost, then got to be renominated again 4 years later?
Well, the thing is, in 2016, if we all remember, Donald Trump lost the popular vote to Hillary Clinton, but of course, Donald Trump still got the Electoral College votes.
Oh.
But has there been a president that, like, has lost a presidency, then is able to, like, win back presidency years later once someone's term is finished, besides Donald Trump now? I don't think so.
Yes.
Who?
You're like,
demands an answer.
You're like, I demand you tell me who won presidency
that
again.
Jack and Coke is Jack and Coking right now.
No.
Who won presidency 2 times? Stephen Grover Cleveland. President Cleveland. He was he won. He was a 22nd and the 24th president of the United States.
You got your answer.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Grover Cleveland. So let me tell you, America. Let me tell you all something, America. Donald Trump was not the only person who basically won the presidency twice, right, on different presidential terms. But let it be known, another president that went through this was President Grover Cleveland, who was the 22nd and the 24th president of the United States.
Okay. Thank you.
So
that was lingering in my mind since yesterday.
I'm glad it
since
did.
yesterday. I don't know. I think it's because of TikTok and the fact that people are talking about how he lost. He was out of the race, and then somehow he's back in the race, and now he's president once again.
Yep, that's right. And yes, you are allowed to do that. If you want to run for president,
that brings up another question. Is there a limit to how many times you can serve as president besides the 2 consecutive terms, which is 8 years, right?
So the 2 consecutive terms, right? We all know that if you want to be the limit to be a president continuously is 8 years. That's the limit. But you know what? I haven't known much about what happens in that sort of situation where a person is elected one term, but then they don't get elected for the other term, and then they run again. For the following term, they end up getting elected. So I don't know if that will count as 2.
So terms. Is that unlimited amount of times can they be president? Say after these next 4 years, he loses for some reason, and then waits another 4 years, and then gets renominated again as president. Is that even possible legally?
That is a question. Oh man, that is a good question for people who study the Constitution. For someone who studies the Constitution.
If someone actually knows the answer, please let us know, because I actually want to know about that. I actually want to know if that's
actually, I was curious about that too. I've never even thought about it. I never really had that much in thought. I don't really. I like political science, but it's I'm not really into political science that much. So yeah. So if there's anyone that knows about this question that we were having regarding how many times a person can run for president and right, it's please let us know. It's an interesting question. We all have to know. So yeah, the Electoral College, it was, and the reason why this was first made is because the founders were people don't really know who the candidates are, so the reason why we do this is so the people who are electors, they can have the people's trust in making sure they're able to elect the next president.
The next president, you say?
Yes, the next president, Charlie.
Okay.
Yeah. So, really, that's what it was. It was people didn't know who the president-elect was. Who was going to run for president. So that's why they trust these people. Or it's okay, you make the choice for us. You tell us how this person is and whether or not they're good for the presidency.
Actually, do you know which political party benefits most from the Electoral College system today?
You know what? Because are you basing it off of when they choose the Electoral College people to decide on who gets to become president? Are most of them from a certain political party?
Yes. They're mainly from a political party, but so back in the day, the popular vote didn't even matter to the electors. Back then, it was the electors had free will. They were free to choose whoever they wanted for presidency. But then very recently, electors just basically electors in all states except two just went with whatever their popular vote was in their state. And the only two states that don't go with their popular vote is Maine and Nebraska. Those are the only two where like the electors don't go with their state's popular vote.
Two states on the opposite ends of the country. Okay.
Maine and Nebraska.
In Nebraska. Is there a reason why?
I feel like it was just so the electors could be, they have a choice. The electors have a choice. They don't have, they're not like tied down to like, like popular vote. Like, okay, who's the popular vote? It's like the electors, they have a free of mind. Like they're able to like determine by like themselves who they should vote for.
So, okay, here in California, how many people are in the Electoral College?
Too many to count. I gotta tell you that. Too many to count. Mm-hmm.
So
is it more than 500?
No. Yeah, we have 500 representatives in the state of California.
500, and then the rest of the country gets 0.
Yes.
Big old 0.
A big old 0. Okay, to clear this, California being the largest state, the most populous state in the United States, we have 54 electors.
54. Okay, so my question is, if there is a tie between the Electoral College of California, for example,
Another
27 people vote for Hillary Clinton and 27 people vote for Trump, what happens at that point?
Well, like I mentioned, California.
How does that tie get broken at that point for Electoral College votes?
If that ever happens, then they have to do a vote again.
They would have to revote. Is that the issue?
They have to revote because there is no such things as ties. There is no such things as ties in our election.
No, okay.
So, but like I said, California,
the people need to revote.
The electors need to revote.
The electors.
The electors need to.
What happened to the good old version of rock paper scissors?
Child's game.
A child's game, basically.
Really? What is this? Squid Game?
Oh, please don't even get me started with Squid Game right now.
Did you start watching season 2 already?
Off tangent. Yes, I did. I'm not very happy with how it ended for that season, but anywho.
No spoilers, please. I haven't watched it yet.
Prepared to mind blast or mind blown, if you will.
You have your mind blown.
I think you had too much tequila.
He only had half a shot.
Whatever you say, Miss Jack and Coke over there.
I'm fine. I'm barely drinking.
Barely drinking. Anyways, but either way.
Okay.
But either way, let's get back to topic. Anyways, either way, California, every elector has to vote for the popular vote that the citizens of California voted for. Either way. So, of course, in this past election, Kamala Harris got all 54 votes. Even though that did not help her. even though that did not help her, though.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah.
So, do you think we should have it at that point? In your honest opinion, do you feel like you side with Electoral College voters, or do you side with the populist vote? Like, we should have the say. Yeah. As far as I get to choose.
You give me your opinion.
Honestly, given the information that you told me, listen, I don't, I'm just ignorant as far as, information about, presidential's, dreams and aspirations once they get to that point. So I leave that up to Electoral College at that point. But on the same end, I mean, if I were a little more knowledgeable about that, I would probably say still leave it up to the Electoral College people to decide.
In my opinion, yeah, I think we should just go and trust the Electoral College, because if we do end up going with the popular vote, it's like you give certain people, it's too much power. Like you give certain people too much power, and
honestly, I feel like there's a way for people in Electoral College to finesse their way to get what they want in terms of who should be voted in as president, or based on Electoral College for that state itself, just as easy as us as the popular vote can figure out a way to get our vote in.
So can I answer this one question? So why does the Electoral College still exist despite its contentious origins and awkward fit with modern politics? Well, first of all, the party in power typically benefits from the existence of the Electoral College, says Edwards, right? And he's a political scientist. And the minority party has little chance of changing the system because a constitutional amendment requires a 2/3 supermajority in Congress plus ratification by 3/4 of the states. And of course, let's say in the case of John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon, right? Columnist George Will shudders to think of what would have happened in the 1960 election if there had been no Electoral College. So he makes this statement. John F. Kennedy's popular vote margin over Richard Nixon was just 118,574. If all 68,838,219 popular votes had been poured into a single national bucket, there would have been powerful incentives to challenge the results in many of the nation's 117,000 precincts.
That's why I said I feel like if us as individuals had that power, I feel like a lot of us would probably figure out a way to like, oh, you're voting for Kamala Harris. What's it going to take for you to vote for Donald Trump at that point? Like, you're going to do a lot of bribing, or they'll figure out a way to get you to assume like you signed your point to Trump at that point. So I feel like it cuts both ways if you trust us or if you trust the Electoral College, because it's a numbers game at that point.
And people can easily be swayed. I mean, there's some countries that do popular vote, but corrupt officials, but corrupt people switch the minds of the people. Like for example, I don't even want to say it. A certain country down south did it.
That was a situation where they did that.
I don't want to go into too much detail, but like in the 90s, we did see that a lot.
Okay.
Where during a presidential election where where the results were manipulated.
So they basically rigged it in their own fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there something that you wanted to say?
Oh no, I was just thinking that sometimes people are misrepresenting themselves as well, and like also spreading hate, and so also other people are being encouraged to spread hate as well. So I think that's also a big thing. Like, I think people need to start like realizing, like, we want a person that has a good influence on the people. They want to have the best interest in the people as well. But still, influence is such a big thing, though.
So would you side with having us being the power to hold the final say say who becomes president, or do you side with the Electoral College being the final say?
Electoral College, just because I at least hope that they have like more of an understanding of where like whoever's getting elected, where they're coming from, their interests. And also, I mean, I'm pretty sure, what do you need? You need a degree to be in the Electoral College, right? Like a certain degree, or no?
You should have at least some knowledge of political science, at least some knowledge of, politics.
Are you saying I could be an Electoral College candidate? Like, I could be the one to decide?
Actually, I don't know. How do you be part of an Electoral College?
Where's the application process? I want to see this.
Actually, I want to know. Yeah. I just assume you need to be very educated in political science and have a very good understanding.
So choosing each state's electors is a two-part process, actually. So first, the political parties in each state choose slats of potential electors sometime before the general election, and second, during the general election, the voters in each state select their state's electors by casting their ballots.
So I'm guessing there's an election before the presidential election to see who gets to be the Electoral College.
Basically.
So is that from the people then? The people vote?
It sounds like that. It sounds like
So how are
So regardless, you are getting the people's vote, though.
You're getting the people to vote for the electors, and the electors will eventually use your vote to kind of see where you're going to be, who should be president.
Yeah, so Article 2, and it's in the Constitution too. So Article 2, Section 1 of the
Constitution. The people have that power, regardless, to vote for someone to represent their state.
Okay, so basically. So the Constitution states that electors can't be a member of Congress. That's for sure. Electors cannot be members of Congress. So everyone except members of Congress can be elected as electors, right?
So
or hold federal office. So
we the people.
Yes,
we the people.
So of course, the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment says that electors can't be anyone who was engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States, right? This was after the Civil War, right?
So people in the January 6th insurrection can't be a part of the elector, itself? I mean, because you just...
No comment. I don't want to...
No comment? Is that what you just said?
I don't know. That's an interesting question, though.
So we're just going to have to hope for the best. So
basically, just hope for the best.
Each state votes for an individual that can best represent, their state.
Okay.
As well as the country, then.
Electors can be elected officials or party leaders in the state, or people who have some kind of personal or professional connection. I hope so too, because apparently nowadays holding some certain degree doesn't matter anymore in this country.
Okay.
But I mean, like I said, I trust, everyone should kind of just trust their electors, all right? Whoever person is on the Electoral College during the election year, just trust them, and hopefully they are able to choose wisely on the next person who will lead our country into a better future. And
does the Electoral College also have a say on the final say when it comes to which propositions get passed, or is that left up to the states?
No, that's left to the states. That's state legislators. So kudos to Proposition 36.
Okay, what is Proposition 36, since you decided to quickly say that into the mic?
Exactly. Can you give us a fresh reminder of what that is?
A fresh reminder of Proposition 36.
Prop 36 says this.
Proposition 36 of California. A good proposition. Allows felony charges and increases sentences for certain drug and theft crimes underneath $950.
Okay. So that was just because it was left to the states. So each state has their own prop numbers.
Prop numbers. So each state has their own propositions. Each state has their own.
So
I would assume.
So Prop 36 in Colorado is not the same proposition as here in California.
No, that's a totally different thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's totally
different. If you didn't vote and didn't propositions pass or did not pass, please remember you should educate yourself first
in the proposition.
All of the propositions that are being voted for. And make sure to always vote, you guys. I think that's
voting
very
is important. As a citizen, that's important.
Yes.
My opinion is I didn't vote, so I don't get to complain if things didn't happen.
You don't need to complain.
You said that right here.
Whatever fate happens at that point. If I didn't vote, I don't get to complain.
Yeah, crazy people.
That's just my opinion.
You can have another chance to vote if you did not
this year
or
in 4 years.
And the next election.
The next election. My bad. Sorry.
The Jack and Coke is Jack and Coking.
No, it's not. Oh goodness. This is Jose, you guys. This is Jose.
Yes, you're a good host.
But honestly, though, I just think sometimes people complain of certain propositions because they just didn't pass or
they don't agree with.
Yeah.
They just don't agree with them.
Exactly.
But honestly, Proposition 36.
If you didn't vote. Or educate yourself with, remember the whole 10 cents to get a bag? from the grocery store.
Yeah, the reusable bag.
People didn't realize what they were voting for, and I think vote yes.
Because it passed.
It passed, and people were super upset because they had to pay 10 cents
for each bag. For each bag they purchased at the store. But I asked them, and I'm like, did you vote yes for this? And they said, yes, but I didn't really look into it.
I mean,
or read about it.
I understand why, why we want to charge now with plastic, just because, we're already in a crisis as is with the amount of plastic that we have. Yes. So I feel like it feels dumb. It feels dumb to profit off of plastic, because we didn't used to be charging 10 cents for plastic, but also if it's helping the general ecosystem.
Exactly. And I mean, for me, it's pretty good because you also can be able to manage yourself and be able to reuse bags. That way you don't waste so many bags at the end. But I just remember that people were so upset that they had to pay 10 cents. But now it's normal now. But I just remember that
when it first happened,
everyone was just annoyed and was upset. But I don't think they realized what they voted for too.
And that's the issue.
But then that is an issue. But that's why we need to know the proposition ourselves and read about every proposition that is on the ballot. So, but then again, keep that in mind, everyone. Just keep that in mind.
And it does matter because propositions come because of things that are happening within the state. Like, for example, come on, honestly, Proposition 36, that proposition was introduced because of what was happening in this state, the past year, of all the things that we were seeing about the retail thefts and everything, from the malls to gas stations, and it's just
online,
people were tired of it. I'm sorry, people were tired of it.
Employers were just canning there and just
because they can't do nothing.
They couldn't do anything, and I know that they were just putting everything in a bag and walking out like nothing. It's just, I don't know. That was very disturbing. But hopefully there's gonna be a change.
Oh no, there are changes. Orange County is Orange County is better be careful. Orange County don't play around. Orange County, if you steal, oh man, you will be prosecuted, and it is a felony in Orange County. They don't mess around. To the full extent of the law. Yeah, to the full extent of the law. There's even billboards. If you're driving in Orange County, there's even billboards right there saying oh, don't steal.
And
Stealing's a felony.
Feel safe while shopping, like that. That's just so awkward just to see someone just putting so much stuff in the bag and just leaving, and it's not right, know?
I mean, okay, so Electoral College process happens, a president is elected. Obviously, it's not the same one that is in office. So what happens now?
So what happens now is January 6th, Congress meets together. This recently happened. On January 6th, Congress met together and they ratified the number of electoral votes.
Oh, I read about that.
Yep. So after the election happens in November, we wait until January 6th. Mm-hmm. January 6th, that is where the members of Congress comes together and they bring in all the ballots of the electors and they count the number of ballots that were thrown in for the presidential nominee, and they verify it. Each state verifies it, and that's how it is. So they count, and the vice president is the one that oversees it. Vice President Kamala Harris oversaw the counting of the electoral votes, right?
She saw it even though she was the one that was running?
No. You have to. She's a vice, because she's a vice president.
Even if she was the one running for president, she still has to be a part of counting them.
Yeah, she still has to be a part of it. Even though if they're the nominee, the vice president has to still be a part of it because they're technically in charge of Congress. They're like the boss of Congress at that point. So yeah. So
they count, and then what happens? So
everyone's applause, yeah. that. And then, all right, that's it. This is it. This is the official vote. If there's no objections, we will continue. This will be pushed forward. If there are objections, please come make your case, blah, blah, blah. And it was the same thing in the 2020 election. Like, you know, the whole thing, it was like, all this. But, like, yeah, if there was no objections, then you leave it as that. And, of course, the purpose of the transition of power, there has to be a peaceful transition of power. That is what makes the United States a good democracy, constitutional republic, okay?
Did you see that TikTok? Or not TikTok, but at least those videos that was circulating around social media where, you know, you saw, I think it was Barack Obama sitting with Donald Trump, and they were like
Jimmy Carter's funeral.
That.
At Jimmy
like,
Carter's funeral at President
Carter.
But they were both sitting next to each other, and they were like in one of the pictures you could see them laughing. I don't know what they were talking about, but yeah, like, I was like,
and the people are trying to read their lips as well. Those funny videos.
Honestly, I don't know what they were talking about. It probably was a funny joke.
What were they talking about?
It might be a funny joke or something, but I was like.
Or at least they're friends. At least they were buddies.
Friends.
They were buddies with a quotation mark.
They're friends for a day.
They were friends for a day.
They're friends for that day in particular.
For a funeral.
After.
For a funeral, no.
Let's be civilized for a day, y'all.
January 20th is the day, though. January 20th is Inauguration Day. January 20th.
For Inauguration Day. I'll be working on that day, so.
I have a day off.
It's my birthday.
And it's MLK Day.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, yes, MLK Day. So,
wait,
20th.
So Inauguration and MLK Day are on the same day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
So, peaceful transition of power, people, is important. That's what makes American leadership great. And of course, we did see that. There is proof that we saw that today with this election. Joe Biden has agreed to a peaceful transition of power. Unfortunately, unlike 2020, where someone did not like a peaceful transition of power in the 2020 election.
Okay.
So, a peaceful transition of power, that's what's important for this democracy to go forward.
Okay.
So,
thank you guys for listening, and make sure to like and comment and subscribe to our channel. Let us know your thoughts about, you know, electoral colleges, kind of like how we mentioned earlier.
And also, if you want to know what my sister's new TikTok is, please tell us.
It is Eri with a underscore travels 4. The number 4.
And that will be in the description area. I will be putting down the description.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for stopping by and joining us.
I learned a lot, and we had honestly a interesting conversation. So.
But yeah, let us know. You know, we're always curious about, you know, what you guys want to, what your thoughts are on the episode, and then also, like, can a president be run in a limited amount of times and, you know, not get away with it, but, you know, succeed in that endeavor, if you will.
Yes, succeed.
So please leave a comment.
Next time you hear from us, we'll be talking about our day that's coming up for Inauguration Day, also known as MLK Day, and why we keep his legacy alive every single year.
Yes.
So again, thank you guys for joining us. Have a great week, and, you know, God bless America always, and God bless the USA. So until next time,
this has been your host,
Martin
and Jose, and your guest,
Erika.
And thank you for allowing us as we take a drink with the past.
Cheers.
Cheers.